Okay, so I got my axle finally chopped here. Never actually measured exactly how long it's going to be yet, so I guess I could do that now. I'm aiming for about a 40-inch overall width for the rear end, and it could be reversed. So yeah, I'm right at 29 inches. Right at 29 inches right there. And I just trimmed off this little piece here. I was hoping to have enough left for my jack shaft, but no way. The only way I'd have enough left for my jack shaft if I build the frame in even closer, so I'll just spend another 50 bucks, buy another piece. Or I could always cut the shaft out of the old drive system there, but nah, I think I'll just buy new. Okay, so time to weld on my sprocket. Everyone does it a little bit differently. Some people tack it, some people completely weld it. I go overkill, of course. I grind it, weld all around on this side, and then I actually do the other side. I kind of just more or less tack it on the other side, but sometimes I'll go complete around. I plan to put some pretty serious horsepower through this sucker, so yeah. Thinking that I'll probably do a little bit more. Should have turned off my YouTube video, Hickok 45 there. This is my disc brake that I just picked up. You can see it's a little bit smaller here. Once I put the chain on the sprocket, yeah, it's going to be quite a bit smaller, but I don't want to ruin that. I don't want to dent it, you know, whatever. So I'm going to be returning the bigger one, because the bigger one's even bigger than the sprocket. So this one's, I think, a 5-inch, and the other one was a 6.8 inch. So anyway, I'll start welding that on and get back to you guys in a little bit. Okay, so I just tacked to one side here, made sure everything was level, gave it a quick grind. Not sure how well that's showing up. There's 4 tacks around it. That beep was just my computer shutting off. Put it in the vise here. Make sure I'm not going to crunch any Allen key heads. Just be a second here. Make sure it's somewhat level. Good enough. Hook up my ground, which you gotta kind of wiggle it on this surface, and now I'll weld right around that sucker. I don't need gloves for this because it's just going to be a quick job. Time to go nuts. Piece of shit. Well, the best that shitty welder is going to do. I am going to go over it one more time with the wire brush. So yeah, the welder just can't, like if I turn up try to get more like feed out of it, if I turn up the wire feed, it just starts chicken shitting like hell. So it's just not a very powerful welder, so it's about the best this welder can do. So I know it's not that bad, but it's still pissing me off. Makes me wish I would have got my other welder here. Did it right. Nice and toasty hot there. That is for sure never going anywhere. Trip on my ground. Yeah, it's not that bad. I know I might touch up a few little corners in there, but it doesn't really need it. It looks pretty decent. So yeah, maybe I'll touch up the corner right there where I bucked it off. And again, I'm not worried about this camera if I screwed up welding. It's a cheap camera, so anyway, there's just a little bit of a pinhole there, so bring some of the slag with air first. It doesn't look that bad. Okay, give the other side a little bit of a hit. Hey, hold on to it. Don't let it go. It's probably pretty hot. Yeah, it's not bad. It's hot. It's very hot. Okay. That's still in the view. Should be okay. Some of that chip I can weld it. That's all the way around. Looks like shit, but using a welder that's way older than me, what do you expect? Note to self, or everyone, when you're using air to clean welds, watch your eyes. It hurts, especially when there we go. Okay, could give it one shot with the wire brush. Just remove anything. I always use air first because the wire brush you won't get stuff hidden in cracks and shit like that out. And then when you go to weld it, it looks like shit, or paint it. I mean, it peels off and rusts like shit. So, highly recommend using air to clean welds. Not many people do that, but that's the way I've been doing it for years and never had a problem with rust. Okay, just one sprocket ready to go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is rotate the bearing on here. Because I don't want the grease nipple, which always come loose on these, by the way. I don't want that facing forward because then a tree branch will hit it, knock it off. So I'm going to rotate the bearing so it faces the direction I want. The sleeve faces the direction I want, and so I don't have to worry about breaking that off. So the way I always done it is, this is still actually very hot. Oh yeah, still hot. Ooh, and sticky. Left some fingerprints on there, but whatever. I got some paint on my hands too. Again, this is just the way I have always done it. On the pipe side here. Start by, of course, figuring out which one I need to do it to. This one here will be the good one. This one here is the wrong one. Okay. Forgot to wear my belt today. Basically, I put them in, and just all you're going to do is rotate them, pull them out, push them out like that. So it's there's cuts in here to pop out the bearings. You can also buy these as replacement bearings, a lot cheaper than buying the entire block. And then you're just going to put it back in, just like that. Now it's going to sit like that, and I'm going to have the collar facing the direction I want it. And grease nipples are both going to be facing the back. So I know a lot of people should know that, but it's just something I decided to throw in just in case you don't. Sweet. there we go. So there's my axle. Got my bearing, sprocket, sleeve, spacer sleeve, disc brake, which is a little bit smaller than I'm thinking I should go, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be fine. I can always put a hydraulic brake roller caliper, instead of this guy. So anyway, that's the right distance. The spacer here took it up perfectly. All I got to do now is measure from here to here and from there to there and kind of space that out perfectly center. Then I got to put in my keys, and then I got to weld this to the center sleeve and then weld that to the sprocket here. So the reason why I'm doing that is just for extra strength. I could leave it free spinning if I want, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to weld it because that's the way I did my last one. So, sweet. Okay, so I got my keys in place. Just my disc brake, little tiny mini disc brake. Got my sprocket, which is just off the camera right there. Now, one thing I want to mention is when you're putting on these bearings, there's actually a cam lock on these. I'm not sure if that's going to show up the best. You can kind of see how there's a thinner groove here versus the bottom down here. When it goes on, I'm trying to look through the viewfinder, so it's a little bit tricky. Not sure if you're seeing how it's kind of spins and it goes side to side. But anyway, long story short, you put it on the cam lock. Then you put the bearing on. You make sure you line it up here so it fits in. Now, I always put something heavy on top to make sure it's snug everything here. So now what you're going to do now is on the keyway, again, your screw, you do not normally want to put it into the keyway because you'll actually go through the threads and you'll have nothing to hold it in. But you can actually get a different key. You can take out this key here, and you can actually get the longer ones for about $1 a piece at Princess Auto, and then you can go right into the keyway. In my case, I don't have the longer ones. I'm just too stupid to buy them. So I'm going to line up this here so it fits on top. It fits in just like that. Now you're going to take your channel locks here and you're going to turn it. Again, you don't want your Allen head to line up with your keyway. And for me, I'm going to get some weight on top of it because it's pushing up. There we go. Now I can feel tension on it because it's starting to lock, but I want to continue moving it a little bit. Hold my sprocket here. There we go. Double check where my keyway is. Right there. So okay, so my Allen key ended up here, and that is locked on there super tight. And all you want to do now is put some Loctite on here and tighten it up. That's just what I wanted to mention. So of course you want to put a little Loctite on your head here. Sweet. Nice blob of freaking blue Loctite there. Normally I degrease it, but I got enough Loctite that it should clean itself up. And I normally go tight enough until I strip it pretty much. Well, I'll strip the head, not the actual screw. Right there. Good enough. Technically now, this here should be a fail-proof system. And yeah, again, I'm going to tack weld this and this together onto the center shaft here, which is pretty tight, but it still free spins. So I'm going to tack weld it down here, tack weld it up there, spin it, do the other sides. And again, what that's going to do is if I happen to break the key on this one, the second one will be transferred through here and take the strain. So, because I don't want to be going up a hill and down a hill and have no brakes. So it's just a little bit of an extra bonus. So, and anyway, I guess that's pretty much it. And yes, you can get shims with the keyway cut. So this case here, I got a hole here, but it's not threaded. I'm going to line it up with the key, and I'm going to put a pin in there and weld the pin in. So I know it doesn't really do much because I could just strip, but hey, any little bit helps. Okay, so I just finished welding that, and up there, and of course at the end of my shaft here, this is soaked in water just to stop my bearing from overheating. So that guaranteed now is never going to come off there. I didn't want to pile on too much weld, but hopefully it never warped or anything stupid like that. I have welded many of them before and never had that issue, but just put a little bit extra water around there, make sure the bearing doesn't overheat. I did pour water down it. Anyway, time to do the other side. Okay, so my axle here is done. Still got to do my outer hub bearings here and my outer hubs. Everything seems to be nice and straight so far, so there's no warpage whatsoever. So I was kind of worried about that with the heat, but I made sure to cool it off nicely with the cloth, which kind of actually got burnt here to it. So very end there. I didn't want to weld these too much here because just a little bit of weld's all it takes to stop them from ever moving. Of course, I made sure my bearings were kept nice and cold. I'm going to give this a shot of paint now. As you can tell, it is center stainless steel by the looks of it. So I'm not too worried about it, but in here I'm going to give it a shot of paint. I'll paint right over the rotor, then I'll take sandpaper, clean it back off. I'm not worried about that. So anyway, it's going pretty good. Okay, so I got my hubs welded on. Got my inner or outer bearings put in place here. So you can see the welds there on the hub. The outside there, I went a little overkill on the outsides, but I wanted it to be nice and strong. Nothing is bent, everything's perfectly level, nothing warped. So it's all perfect, so perfect. Now I can start installing it. Sweet. Okay, so here's the way it's going to sit for today. Just gave some primer on my hubs here so they don't rust. My bearing supports here, I'm going to pound them right up to the end here after I kind of clean that up so I can get the lock up forward. So it's going to be right there, but whatever, you get the point. I guess I'll toss up the video the way it is now, and in the next few days I'll start working on it a bit more. Sweet.